Yeah, well, I think the first thing is what we just touched on there. Stories are key.
Yeah.
So knowing what stories you tell yourself will be the indicator as to the life that you are living, what you are telling yourself inside your head. Like I often say that my job, I'm a storyteller. You know, whether it's acting, singing, creating, self-development, it's all about the stories that we tell ourselves. And sometimes we tell ourselves really shit stories, very, very dark stories. So I would always say when I'm working with clients or when I'm working in my membership or when I'm writing, I would always say, okay, so tell me the story. What's the story about? Tell me what happens in this story. And often when we're feeling shit, the story's terrible. It's so sad. And that's not to try and say that sad things doesn't happen. We of course it does. We know that, but what version, like as a widow, right? That already the word, bit like spinster, right? It's a word that has such a potent thing around it.
Mm.
I mean, if I want to be the widow, I actually searched something. It was on Canva and I was doing a presentation on this, on grief, and I searched widow. And the other things that came up were old hag, old woman, sad old woman. I'm like, well, all of that sounds absolutely terrible and not who I am, right? It's just like I reclaim that story, just like you reclaim the word spinster. No, we're not doing that. So we get to decide what it looks like. So I would start with stories first, really, really, really key. The next thing I would say is, and again, I touched on this before, but protect your space. I often say, and I don't know where this is when impulsive stuff comes out my mouth. I once said, we need to protect our brains and our spaces like Kevin from Home Alone protected this house. When Kevin was like, ready to protect that house in Home Alone. That's how we need to protect our space. We need to be mindful of who's coming in. We need to be mindful of what we are watching, what we are listening to. If it doesn't feel good and it's not growing us in any way, what the fuck are we doing? Right. And so that, I would do an audit on what's going on in my world that's probably not making me feel good. Oh, I'm following that girl that I used to go to school with and her life looks amazing. It's making me feel bad. Okay, maybe stop following her as a starting point. Like, let's just
Yeah.
stop doing that. I listen to the news every day it's just on loop in the background. It's making me feel sad. Yeah, let's not do that anymore because it's not making you feel good. It's looking at those things and auditing that, like going, right, that doesn't feel good. So stories, protecting your space, gratitude for sure, finding fun, right? And finding, me and Ross used to say a lot, find beauty in the mundane, right? Find beauty in the mundane is something that I think about a lot, right? There is beauty and there's joy everywhere, but when our brains are locked off to it because we keep telling our brain everything is shit, and no doubt you will know, and some of your listeners, but our brain, regardless of whether you think it's woo-woo or not, the reticular activating system in our brain is like the gatekeeper of what our conscious mind will see. We take in, 4.1 billion bits of data per second, right? It's too much information for us to consciously be aware of. So our clever brain goes, just have this bit and this bit. But it chooses that based on what we tell it, what we believe about the world, what we believe about ourselves, and what we focus our attention on. So if our attention is always on the negative, we'll start to see that in our reality. I often think about it like the algorithms that we have on social media. If we want to be on happy brain talk, then we need to focus on something good. And that's where gratitude's important. The more we focus on, okay, there might be shit stuff over here, but drag your brain over here to look at this. And eventually your brain will start to show you that. It will start to show you joyful things. It will start to show you opportunities to have fun and to have lightness. And that is something that it is a training, right? You have to, some people will be on negative brain talk right now and they need to zhuzh themselves over to some positivity. For me, over the years, that's really helped me because now I do see beautiful things everywhere. My brain is very wired to look for prettiness and for sparkly things and for things that bring me joy and for nice people. And my kids will laugh at me because I have, and this is embarrassing, I mean so embarrassing, I will stop the car, get out of the car to take pictures of things if I think it's joyful, so I can look at it later again. So I can relive that joy. There's a bush at the bottom of our street, and it has, during the seasons, it just has like different colors that go down this like beautiful, at the moment it's like all these orange gradient stuff. Oh, it's gorgeous, right? So I will literally stop the car if I see something like that because I want to have that joy in my life. And the more we do that, the more we see it. So I think finding those moments of joy is essential. Making joy non-negotiable, like making fun and play non-negotiable. That's really, really key. And I don't get to decide what that looks like for people, right? You decide what that looks like. It will be different for all of us. But we need to stop guilt tripping ourselves for joy, especially when tough stuff's happening, or you're grieving, or you're going through a breakup, or you're struggling with, wanting kids, or all of those, things that come up for us as adult humans. We bloody need the joy to have a moment of respite, to have that. And I think as well, simple things matter. So in my work, the one thing that I really try to do in the membership and with clients is find simple things day to day that will support us, because it's all well and good, those of us that have the knowledge, knowing the big, top level psychiatrist reasons and the science behind stuff. That's great. But what the fuck does that matter in our day-to-day life? Because we need to know what is tangible and actionable. And that's really for me in the small things. So in my work, I'm often trying to think about, right, what do we do every day? And it often comes down to making cups of tea, washing my face, brushing my teeth, going in the shower. And I'm always trying to, I guess, habit stack or attach things to those moments. When I get in my car, is there something I can do there, or something I can see in my car that's going to make me feel joy? That's why my home looks like a vision board, because everywhere I look, if I'm sat on the toilet, in my toilet, I've got the Mean Girls quote, like, "You're like really pretty." It's there. I'm like, thank you so much. While I'm sat on the toilet, right? I want to see things like that. Like I've got here, I'm just going to show you this, but I don't know if you can see. I've got, like, we have like loads of these little blackboard things, and we often write on them. So we've got here, be violently successful
Oh, I
on
love
that
that.
side. And this, oh, that one's a different one. And then we've got on here, we've got take up space, exist loudly.
I
All right. So
love
little
that.
things of joy around that just make you feel good. But it's simple things, right? Simple things day to day. When you walk through your door, is there something that you could do there? Could you say an affirmation? Could you feel grateful? Could you give yourself a pep talk? Do you need to write a pep talk by the door that you're going to walk out the door, get your coat and go, you've got this, girl, you're going to be amazing? Those little things, as silly and trivial as they sound, when we have them dotted throughout, that becomes our life. It becomes something that we just do. So for me, the Happy Me project is about watching the stories, protecting your space, focusing on joy, so it becomes that gratitude. So you adapt your brain to see more of the good. Certainly acceptance. I don't do bullshit, or we don't pretend shit stuff is not happening. Sometimes it is, and it's important to acknowledge when stuff is tough and to feel those feelings. It's okay to scream, be mad, be angry. Just find that route through that, and then give yourself respite with all of the joy. So I think that would be the main sort of ethos around the Happy Me project.
I just absolutely love all of what you just said, and I could not agree more with all of it. It's, my listeners will know that I'm kind of grinning, going,
Yeah.
yep, I totally agree.
Yep.
And actually, one thing I just have to pick up on that you said when you showed me those cool little blackboards, and you said, just have kind of sort of mantras or affirmations, or words of pep talk, whatever it is, on your bathroom mirror on the way out the front door. And one thing I talk about ad fucking nauseam over and over again is I have two apps, and I don't even care that I'm saying it again. I don't care. I
No,
have
tell
two
I want to
apps.
know.
Yeah, I have two apps on my phone. One is called I Am, and one is called
Mhm.
Motivation. And this is just one, because what you say is so true, and as much as you can train your brain to find the joy, find the beauty, find the positivity. It's not about toxic positivity, it's just about
Yeah.
cultivating a more positive mindset so that your brain automatically goes to the good side of things. Like, again, not ignoring the bad, but
Yeah.
you just become the kind of
But
person.
that's
Anyway,
easy. That bit's easy. Like the
yeah,
negative's easy for us. We
yeah,
don't need to
that
practice. We've
that
got that down.
that is so fucking true. It's so easy to be negative, and it's harder to be joyful and positive. But basically, on my phone, I have these two apps, and every 45 minutes to an hour, all day, every day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, every time I pick up my phone, I'm doing it right now. I have, oh, look, there's a quote here on my phone as I picked it up. Forgive yourself. This is a Mel Robbins quote. I bloody love her.
I love
Forgive
that.
yourself. Whatever you're holding on to or carrying around from the past, let it go. So there's one. Let me read another one. Here's another one. Love yourself, believe in yourself, support yourself. I get these things. Oh, here's another one. These have all come up during our interview, which
Oh,
has
I
only
love
been an
that.
hour. I give up the habit of criticizing myself. I have the power to create my ideal life. Have just come up
Mm.
on my phone during the course of our conversation. And speaks to exactly what you are saying, which is when you are constantly feeding your brain with good shit, you are going to train your reticular activating system to look for more of it.
Yeah.
And I sometimes sound like a broken record on the podcast because I go on and on and on about these things, but I will continue to do so because I know
It's
that it
essential.
takes a while for the penny to drop for many, many people in the same way that it did for me.